Hello and welcome to CTV News Across Canada for Thursday, August 7th. We've got the top local stories from coast to coast, stories that affect you and the country. Thanks for joining us.
As word spreads about a potential strike among Air Canada flight attendants, travelers are watching closely at a situation that can change plans quickly.
A lot of people are going to be pretty upset about it. I know somebody in particular who has flights booked to Europe. In the not too distant future, flights are already paid for, and she and her daughter are not very happy at this news.
Just yesterday, the union representing about 10,000 Air Canada and Air Canada Rouge flight attendants announced nearly 100% of them voted in favor of a strike mandate. After being locked into what they called an outdated contract with the airline, the union has a long list of things they want renegotiated, including wages, pension, and working conditions.
We were having discussions on that, but the discussions just weren't coming to fruition with an agreement. So we felt we needed to move through the process, and this was the next stage.
He says flight attendants also want to see unpaid labor addressed, claiming employees routinely work for free, doing things like boarding, deplaning, and pre-flight security checks.
It takes longer to do our job, but there's no compensation for that. There's no recognition for that. And a lot of that time is actually deemed our crew rest. So that's I think the big point here is we need to get that kind of stuff fixed.
CTV News reached out to Air Canada for comment, but did not hear back by deadline. Meanwhile, the union says their only desire is to reach a deal and avoid disruptions for travelers, many of which want the same thing.
None of us want to see attendants going on a strike so that the travel will be disrupted.
They're striking for a reason, so I guess they need to be compensated properly. So if they feel that they deserve more, then they should get more money.
It's too disruptive. There should be a way to come to a compromise over the table, I think.
Now, Air Canada has stated they are committed to the bargaining process as both parties get set to meet again on Friday. But the union says they'll be looking for two main things to be addressed, and that is unpaid work and wages. Without that, they say flight attendants are prepared to strike. Jesse.
Vanessa Wright reporting from Halifax Stanfield International tonight.
Reverend Rosalind Wenyeki and her two children walked into a hearing today at the Canada Border Services Agency office in Mississauga. They did not walk out. Her request to defer a deportation order back to Kenya has been denied. She and her two daughters, aged 9 and 6, have been detained. The family must leave the country tomorrow. We spoke to her in a telephone call from inside the detention center. She says her children are frightened, scared, and don't understand what is happening.
Of course, they started crying immediately. We were told that we are not going out of the CBSA, so I had to calm them down.
Also not forgetting the trauma itself, what she's dealing with right now, the children themselves, the trauma they're dealing with right now, and the fragility of their age as well, that they have to kind of process all this all by themselves. They don't even understand what's going on, but they know they are at risk.
These documents obtained by CTV News show the flight leaving Pearson at 10:45 a.m. Wenyeki, known to many as Reverend Hadassa, came to Canada in 2020 with her young children. They say they were forced to flee persecution from a powerful church leader in Nairobi. Over the past 5 years, the family has created a life in Toronto. Wenyeki leads a ministry and her children attend West Hill Public School.
The community is grieving. We're calling on the immigration minister now and the public safety minister to step in. This is the only thing that can be done now.
Both their refugee claim and application for permanent residency under humanitarian and compassionate grounds have been denied. We reached out to both Immigration and Canadian Border Services. They won't speak to specific cases, citing privacy. Quote, we require written consent from individuals before we can disclose information about their cases to the media. A spokesperson for Canada Border Services Agency wrote, quote, the agency carries out removals based on a risk management regime. There are multiple steps built into the process to ensure procedural fairness, and the CBSA only actions a removal order once all legal avenues of recourse that can stay a removal have been exhausted. And just for some context on numbers, the CBSA says more than 45 people a day are deported out of this country. For the children in this case, though, they came to Canada when they were 1 and 4 years old. They have no memories of Kenya. All of their life has been here in Canada. Reporting live, I'm John Musselman. I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, John.
For more than 50 years, Patrick Alessi has owned this candy shop in the small border town of Birch Bay, Washington.
And we operated the candy shop here until COVID hit,
forcing them to adapt and overcome the challenge. But now they're facing a new wave of uncertainty as British Columbians stay north.
Well, I don't blame them.
An intense trade war between the two countries that has soured many Canadians' appetite for American travel, leaving the Alessi family in the crossfire, yet the damage appears to be minimal.
I kind of looked over some of the numbers recently to kind of figure out where we're at, and honestly, the business sales weren't as bad as I thought they were going to be. I mean, we're down by maybe 2% relative to last year for dollars in sales.
One reason could be attracting domestic travelers to fill the Canadian gap.
We're seeing a lot more of what I call U.S. regional business. So Seattle, Portland, and those metros, even east of the Cascades, we are seeing an increase in those visitors.
Calming the storm that other American communities haven't been as fortunate. The latest economic impact research from the World Travel and Tourism Council projects the U.S. is on track to lose $12.5 billion in international tourism spending this year.
Which we're surprised at, because the US is the biggest travel and tourism market in the world.
And just last month here in the Pacific Northwest, data from the Border Policy Research Institute in Bellingham shows that there's been a 30% drop in Canadians crossing the border into Washington state.
If we look back the last 30 years where we saw such a sudden and quick drop.
This is shocking.
Yeah, I mean, shocking, but perhaps not surprising when we think about the current state of affairs.
With all eyes on Washington and Ottawa, Alessi remains optimistic, echoing a passage he once read in Robert B. Reich's book, The Work of Nations, on overcoming problems.
We'll come through this, all of us, stronger. So I hope that's right. It's got to be right.
Craig Crow, CTV News, Birch Bay.
This isn't just any flight. It's part of Quebec's latest effort to fight rabies from the sky.
Today we're starting our vaccine bait distribution.
Between August 6th to September 20th, 635,000 vaccine baits that look like this will be distributed by air and on the ground, covering more than 7,000 square kilometers in the eastern townships and the Montérégie. Officials load up the plane with vaccine baits, ready to be released over targeted areas. The baits are designed to smell good in order to entice the wild animals.
They're gonna just really eat it, chew on it, and get the vaccine in their mouth and get immunized that way.
The last time Quebec saw a case of rabies was 2015, but this year alone there have been 42 confirmed cases, according to the province's Environment Ministry. And the disease is serious. Infection can spread between animals and humans. Once symptoms start showing, death is inevitable, says rabies coordinator Marianne Gagné.
That's why we're doing this, to really protect human health, in fact.
Gagné says the infected raccoons are coming from south of the border in Vermont. Most of the cases are concentrated near Stansted, Quebec. That's why this operation is so important. The vaccines will be distributed over a total of 160 municipalities, and it will take a few months before the province sees a reduction in numbers. While cases are still low, if you do get bitten or scratched by an infected animal, experts say immediately wash the area with soap and water for about 10 to 15 minutes, then call Info Santé 811 for next steps. Gagné says if you have a pet, make sure they are vaccinated against rabies.
We ask people to stay away from the animal, never get close or try to help animals, even if they seem harmless.
Meanwhile, the province is doing what it can to fight rabies from gaining any more ground. Sweet Arasi, CTV News.
The postman comes, puts the mail inside, closes the door, and brings this up.
For many, that's the way it's been in rural areas for years. Not anymore.
Whether it's to save time or money, I'm not sure, but it's not doing the workers nor the corporation any good.
David Carrier received a letter from Canada Post indicating delivery agents would no longer raise the flag on mailboxes when mail is delivered.
And it seems a little bit odd that given it a time when Canada Post is struggling to survive and wanting large raises and wanting to gain more of the market share, that they're going to offer less service and less convenience to the public when they deliver their mail.
A resident in Somerstown near Cornwall received this handwritten note from a carrier saying they were no longer allowed to raise the flag. So sorry, please check box regularly. In a letter to rural customers, Canada Post said after a review it was determined that the purpose of the signal device was for the customer to indicate to the delivery agent that there was outgoing mail. Canada Post writes in a statement that the flag is not meant to inform customers mail is in the mailbox. It acknowledged some do it as a courtesy, but that it is not a national delivery process. For Carrier, it doesn't make sense.
I've spent my whole life living rurally, and I don't know of very many people who put mail outgoing and use that indicator. But a lot of people here have a half-a-mile laneway, and they look out, they don't see a flag, they don't go out. If they see the flag, they go out. So a lot of these people are older, and it takes some effort to go out and get that mail.
This comes after unionized Canada Post workers rejected the latest in what was said to be Canada Post's final offer. So what's next is still unclear. Stefan?
Have to wait and see. CTV's Katie Griffin reporting live for us tonight.
Unfortunately, there are some dishonest tow truck operators in Alberta.
Transportation Minister Devin Dreeshen says those drivers will be punished by the new rules the province is bringing in.
We will now be requiring tow trucks to stay at least 200 meters away from a collision scene unless instructed otherwise by police or the driver of a damaged vehicle.
Tow truck drivers who enter the new exclusion zone uninvited will face a $1,000 fine. The province and police are hopeful the rules will deter predatory truckers.
Drivers should not have to worry about being taken advantage of by the people who are supposed to show up and help them.
In May, EPS charged 10 Edmonton-based tow truck companies with fraud. Police say they were demanding people use their services at crash sites, inflating bills, overcharging insurance companies, and refusing to allow access to vehicles. Police say those charges haven't stopped reports of predatory towing. AMA says it hears about it daily.
Individuals that find themselves broken down on the side of the road or involved in a collision where maybe one or multiple predatory towers are coming towards them.
People are running scanners on the fire trucks to go to these accidents.
Tow truck driver Trevor Barlow says the city needs set rates per tow. He also wonders how police will enforce the rules at crash scenes when they don't go to every crash.
I've been in this industry 35 years, and I really have never seen any policing of it.
Anytime that we don't have attending emergency services, whether it's police, fire, or ambulance, it creates perhaps fertile ground for these unethical operators.
The province says it's looking into more ways to curb predatory towing, such as a mandatory tow truck certification system and forcing rates to be publicly posted. The new 200-meter rules take effect this Friday. Connor Hogg, CTV News, Edmonton.
Yeah, I was really feeling a lot of, that I had been duped.
Corbin Kleinveld is facing the truth after falling for a fake rental listing last August.
I was, desperate to get my own place.
The Conestoga College student says he scoured the internet, finding a Kitchener basement apartment on Kijiji that was pet-friendly and within his price range.
That looked good to me. I was like, oh, this, jump on this.
So he did. Kleinfeld says he wasn't able to see the place in person, but the photos shared were enough to convince him. He says he sent the person listing the unit $2,700, first and last month's rent.
They didn't exist.
Kleinfeld reported the incident to police, who say he isn't alone.
As we ramp up towards the school year, there have been 10 reported incidents similar to this type of rental scam fraud.
When it comes to spotting a scam, experts all point to one telltale sign. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
If you see something is significantly discounted, that is to get attention.
Low rates can reel people in, especially when they're in a pinch to find a place.
And in doing so, they send e-transfers, for usually first and last month's rent, usually a couple $1,000 in most cases, without even viewing or seeing.
Police say newcomers and students are a scammer's target audience.
coming from other countries, and that they aren't familiar with the processes.
But since anyone can fall for a scam, post-secondary institutions recommend all students searching for housing check in with them first.
Making sure that you're looking at those places that your institutions offer you to look at first as well, before going out into that private market.
In Kleinveld's case, he says he's still waiting for his funds to be recovered, but offers this advice.
Don't let your ego get in the way because one of the reasons I sent the money was because my family kept on telling me not to. And then I got hurt.
If you believe you may have gotten scammed, police urge you to come forward and file a report with the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre. They also recommend reporting possible fake rental listings through the website you found them on to prevent others from falling for them in the future. Tony.
Alexandra Hollick reporting live. Alexandra, thank you for that.
The city is evicting this community garden on a long-standing vacant lot on 19th Street, with harvest quickly approaching.
This evolved very, very quickly, and the timelines from the contractors also evolved very quickly.
The Rotary Community Garden Collective received an eviction letter on July 23rd and was shocked to learn after years of efforts this one-time home of Imperial Oil will be remediated for redevelopment. All material must be gone by August 21st.
It seems almost absurd that the city would take a community garden that is doing really well in a very difficult location and give that garden 29 days notice.
The lot fell into disrepair in the 80s and has sat vacant since Imperial packed up in 1995. City in 2001. Any chance at redevelopment has been hurt by the costly environmental assessments needed to repair the land, which found hydrocarbon and metal impacts at last check. The province denied to fund those costs earlier this year, but Imperial, which still owns a vacant lot next door, called the city about doing that work immediately.
The costs we estimate are in the range of $500,000 in savings.
I think council and the community are being railroaded by the administration.
The hope is for the city to welcome housing or other social or homeless supports on the site.
There's just no perfect way forward, unfortunately, where we sit today.
But Mappin says that could take years, and she's shocked at the lack of solutions to let them harvest.
Such difficulties for things that should be really simple.
While the city says discussions are ongoing to help store the garden over the winter and stabilize it in 2026, it couldn't come up with any immediate answers to help find a new home this season, with harvest just days away. Keenan Sorakan, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Eric DeShepper is still waiting for improvements to the home care system in Winnipeg, a system he says failed the love of his life.
I see the same systemic failures being repeated.
In February 2023, his partner Catherine Ellis died while battling stage 4 cancer. She had been waiting weeks for home care that only arrived days after her death. A 2023 review of her case found breakdowns in communication, policy, and procedure, and highlighted gaps in the system that led to delays. Since then, DeShepper has been advocating for improvements, but so far, he says, little has been done.
What I would like to see, personally, is a collective and collaborative effort to resolve these systemic issues that have been plaguing the home and healthcare system for over a decade.
The Winnipeg Regional Health Authority tells CTV News earlier this year it implemented a key recommendation from the review, centralizing home care scheduling into one office. It says this changes to better align with the 24/7 operation of services and ensure continuity of care for clients. But the Manitoba Nurses Union says it's caused chaos.
We are in a mess. Clients are not receiving care. Families are upset, clients are upset, nurses are upset, and we need to get this sorted.
Union President Darlene Jackson says the change was made without consultation with frontline workers and is leading to a breakdown in communication between schedulers, home care workers, and clients.
We're seeing a lot of clients that are having, visits dropped, or there's no shows and they have no idea why.
In a statement to CTV News, the WRHA says while the implementation of the new scheduling system has faced some challenges, we are fully committed to improving the program and delivering the care that clients and their families, as well as staff, deserve. But for DeShepper, disappointed with the current system, he's written a letter to Manitoba's Health Minister, Uzoma Azagwara, urging them to take action.
I hope that this time my plea will be taken seriously.
In a statement to CTV News, Minister Azagwara confirmed they received DeShepper's letter and are grateful for his feedback, adding further, "We take Mr. DeShepper's concerns seriously and are committed to continuing to listen to his and other patients' insights, as well as other feedback from frontline home care aides, nurses, and office staff as we work to strengthen our healthcare system."
Calgary's mayor says she wants to have a special meeting with Marda Loop businesses on the ongoing construction issues. This comes after the owner of Doodle Dogs told CTV News yesterday that she's seen a huge drop in customers over the past 15 months of construction and blames the city for her business's closure. In one case, crews actually flagged people away from her store. Mayor Jyoti Gondek says construction should be done in 2 months, but she wants to hear from businesses themselves.
I want to have a good conversation with businesses that are expressing difficulty or making decisions to leave. I want to understand what their perspective is, and I think it's really important in my position to reach out to them and say, you're valued in our city, and what's happened, and what would you have liked to have seen done differently. So that's really what I want to achieve.
Gondek says the high amount of rain recently has caused some delays in construction. She has asked administration to see if they can place some interim measures in the area to help local businesses.
For the first time, we're hearing directly from Volkswagen about the number of jobs it will create when it opens its massive PowerCo battery plant in St. Thomas.
So I think the answer at the moment is thousands of jobs.
When announced in 2023, PowerCo was predicted to employ 3,000 people and create thousands of spin-off jobs. With initial site infrastructure nearing completion, the groundbreaking for Phase 1 is only weeks away. But just how fast the plant will expand and the size of its workforce is not known, with the unpredictability of U.S. tariffs and ongoing trade discussions.
We are monitoring the trade topic very closely, but for the next couple of years, our message is full steam ahead, because that's what we really want to achieve, is start production here in St. Thomas.
To meet its goal, PowerCo has begun a marketing campaign to attract specialized talent, including chemists and IT professionals. In the coming weeks, the company will launch a new jobs website for frontline workers. Initial hires will be trained at a purpose-built local training facility.
So the big wave would start next year, and then you would see that growing into the years to come.
A large skilled workforce was a major reason Southwestern Ontario was selected for the massive PowerCo facility.
Important is that we get the right workforce here. We think this is the case.
Asked if that vision has been met 2 years on, Wickbolt told CTV News,
I'm surprised of the level of qualification that we find.
PowerCo has already hired more than 200 people. All are said to be looking forward to the groundbreaking ceremony.
Foundations is the next focus for our first production building, and then the other big milestone this year is steel construction.
Once the initial phase is complete, production will begin.
Whether it's mid-year or the third quarter, I can't tell you, but we definitely aim for sooner rather than later in 2027.
More than 40 jobs are already active on the company's website. Sean Irvin, CTV News.